I'm Rachel,
Hi, I'm Julia.
where we live in faith every day.
This is life.
Welcome to Life!
Hey guys!
So today we are going to continue with our series, are going to talk about emotional self-care. And emotional self-care is defined by taking care of our emotional needs, intellect, and our conscious inner state. You know, sometimes when you're trying to express your feelings or you're trying to figure out what is wrong with you, that's the inner state. It's you don't know what you're feeling, and when you're trying to figure that out, that's the emotional self-care. It is also to learn to identify your feelings and learning to move forward in honor of those feelings. The Bible talks a lot about controlling your feelings, right? And so there's a huge difference between honoring your feelings and letting your feelings control you. Honoring your feelings comes when you learn to identify those feelings and not brushing it under the rug or trying to lie to yourself about it. It is, in fact, accepting the truth about your feelings. When you're not accepting those feelings is when you push it under the rug, and when you do that, it doesn't mean that your feelings go away. Instead, you're trying to lie to yourself about those feelings. And when you lie to yourself about those feelings, you start getting frustrated, you start getting irritated, and that is when your feelings get out of control. So, in order to help yourself to not lose control of those feelings, is by learning to identify it, learn it, accepting it, and then honoring those feelings. So that is the difference. So, what is emotional intelligence then?
Okay, so a dictionary definition we're getting is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically.
So, another component of emotional intelligence definition is to articulate our feelings in an accurate way. So it's all about knowing yourself and understanding yourself. So then, why is emotional intelligence so important?
It's to learn about yourself, first of all, knowing yourself, and to protect yourself from other people, right? Because people who are emotionally intelligent may use it against you to manipulate you, right? An example, great example, is Satan.
He loves to read people and then using whatever their weakness is against them.
Yep.
Which is kind of terrifying.
He's a master manipulator.
Yeah. So if he knows how you feel and you don't, and he is several steps ahead of you. And to prevent that from happening is for you to understand yourself and to learn about yourself. It even says so in the Bible to learn yourself, right? In Genesis 4:6.
Genesis 4:6 says, "The Lord said to Cain, 'Why are you angry, and why has your face fallen?'" So, he wants us to discover why we're angry.
And also, another important aspect of the importance of emotional intelligence is if you want to love others as the law commands us to, we need to understand others as well as ourselves. Here are some emotional words that can help you identify how you are feeling. This is not an extensive word bank. This is actually a very, very short word bank. You can find different word lists online. Just look up emotional words list and you'll find a whole bunch to kind of help you identify what you are truly feeling. But some of the main ones are anger, sad, happy, good, and then you have some of the branching words from anger, which is frustration, irritation. Off of sad is misused word depression and upset, feeling down. Depression is really not an emotional word. It is actually a state in someone in. So it's a combination of a lot of different symptomologies that make it into someone as being depressed. But being depressed mood, meaning in longer sad mood than not. So there are different categories for you to define yourself as depressed. So depression is really not a feelings word. It is a cluster of different symptomologies that is defined as depression. Happy, giddy, right? I feel good. I feel awesome. I feel great. Some of the more difficult ones are feeling powerless, are feeling worthless or unworthy, feeling alone or lonely. There are a huge difference between feeling alone and feeling lonely.
Yep.
Feeling alone is when you are being cut off from everyone, and you are left completely alone. Lonely is when you have people that you care about or they care about you, but you don't have access to them at that moment. So you can be lonely when you have a lot of people that you care about, but alone meaning you are isolated, you are on your own, not feeling lovable. You don't matter, or you feel ignored, right?
A lot of people feel that.
Right, so when someone is not listening to what you have to say, you might feel like you're not important to them, or you're not valued. Right?
So we wanted to touch a little bit more on anger, and there's two purposes for anger. So there's anger is a feeling, but it's a secondary emotion.
What we mean by secondary emotion is that it is a mask for the real feeling underneath. So when you feel angry that someone lied to you, it's because what you feel is you feel wronged, because if someone lied to you, they stole the truth away from you. You felt wrong. Some of the lesser forms of the word anger is frustration, irritation, annoyance. So these are in a similar category. Some not as intense as the word angry, but is in the same category. One thing to understand about anger is that it can't jump from one person to another, and it can't hurt you. And the reason being is because when you understand that someone is angry, you will know that it's not really their true feeling. You know there's something else underneath it. So when you try to understand what that is, you can learn to understand them even more and address what is truly going on with that person. So some verses that explain about anger is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 9.
So Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 9 says, "Be not quick in your spirit to become angry, for anger lodges in the hearts of fools."
Okay, fools, meaning when you let anger control you, then you no longer in control anymore. Anger is.
So don't let your emotions control you.
Right. When you get angry, just take a step back, right? And calm yourself down, take a few deep breaths, and then think, why am I so angry? What is upsetting me? And once you figure that out, you can join back into the conversation. It's not going to be easy. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of practice.
Right.
But believe me when I say this, you'll be in more control when you do that. The second purpose of anger is
It's a sign that your boundary has been crossed, and whether the boundary is good or bad.
right. So if someone crossed your boundary, like let's go back to the lying example. Well, when someone lied to you, that's crossing a boundary because you had the right to know the truth. But because they took that away from you, they crossed your boundary.
And then you can get angry.
Right. So again, there are two purposes, and both are actually very important. But it's also important to understand that anger is not your true feeling. So there is a Korean drama quote that I really liked, and it really resonates with our topic and I like bringing different things into Bible study or trying to understand things because it doesn't have to come straight from the Bible for it to be meaningful. And so this is from a Korean drama called I Hear Your Voice. And the quote goes, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. If you live by those rules, then everything in this world will become handicapped. All those people that do you wrong, it's only because they're envious of you. Don't be filled with hate for people like that, but instead think of them as unfortunate and take pity on them. So that kind of goes back to our previous about anger. If you understand and try to understand where they're truly coming from, then you can actually reach out to them and understand that the reason why they might be angry or are triggered is because they were hurt and wronged before.
And this is coming from a Korean drama, or like any other soap operas or whatever, So like in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38 to 39, it says, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also.
And it's because he understands that it's not the actual anger.
Right.
There's something else deeper going on inside. And that's why he says, don't treat it that way. If you meet anger with anger, you'll create more anger.
Right. And you don't want to enhance the anger.
No. Instead, you'll just end up having a huge fight or an argument, which sometimes, or most of the time, is not constructive.
That's why we need to understand their feeling and then be able to, just take a step back and just, okay, they're angry.
Right.
Why? And then you'll understand that, and then we're able to work with it,
Mm-hmm.
And not having to create a bigger problem.
Right. And so when you see anger, when you understand that it's only a secondary, it helps you to easily understand the other person as well, because you understand something that other people don't understand.
Right. All right. So we hope you guys learned something, just about emotional self-care and how it biblically relates. And the next video is about spiritual self-care. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have our last video, how it all connects together biblically. So until then, please remember to like our video, and please subscribe. All right, that's it for today. Until next time.
Bye guys.